unique.
TAM KBDT proudly presents Life Solutions, coaching, counseling, naturopathic medicine, insights for successful living, and getting better with Beal.
Welcome. We are going to teach you how to have safe friendships. This is our part 2 on friendships. Last week we talked about the importance of getting back out or reaching back out. During the coronavirus, so many people have isolated, and the more you isolate, the more you isolate, the more you isolate, the more you isolate. And we want to remind you, in order to be healthy, you have to have people in your lives. So we want you to, this week, enrich your lives with safe people to understand how to make safe relationships and improve your health. So how do you identify the nurturing people we all need in our lives, as well as the ones we need to avoid? So we are here. I have Dr. Slaughter joining me today. Dr. Jim Slaughter,
thanks.
welcome.
Yeah, good to be here with you.
We
Thanks.
want to follow up on last week. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's really good to be on the air with people today, and everybody who's watching our broadcast and listening to the broadcast. We're just excited for them to be with us.
We are in studio today, and it's not quite as sunny. We look out, and it's hazy. Apparently, there is a Saharan dust storm that blew across the ocean, came into Texas. That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah,
so we have haze today. We talked last week about the importance of reaching back out, discovering and rediscovering the connections that we had before, rediscover how you feel healthier and well when you reach back out talking to people, how it actually will bring up your mood, bring up your health, bring up any feelings of anxiety, depression. It brings those down. And so basically how to promote and maintain healthy friendships.
Yeah, and you know the thing is we run into so many people who have made such huge mistakes when it comes to trying to be friends with somebody or get into a relationship with somebody, and they come to us after it doesn't work, and they say, you know, help me here. What do I do? Where do I go from here? What did I do that went wrong? And so this is a very, very important topic. It's a very, very important show for people to hear today because it really helps us stay out of very, very hard, difficult relationships and unsafe situations, right?
You crack me up. Very, very, very. You sound like Trump. Huge, huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that lately we have been having an awful lot of clients coming in concerned about their relationships. We have a lady that, I mean, if you're dating online, this is the thing. I mean, we have a lady who had been dating online and ended up quickly, and once she met the person, getting worried about and wanting to know safe versus unsafe. I think with all this tearing down statues and rioting and violence and things like that, and of course a lot of people have told us they're being paid to riot or tear down statues. The thing about that is you have to look at the character issues of someone that would take $30 an hour for such a thing. You know, they say, well, I need the money. I'm desperate for the money. I don't have a job. There's lots of other ways to make money. Sonic is hiring. McDonald's is hiring. Lockheed is hiring. Coca-Cola is hiring. We know lots of places that are hiring. To me, that's no difference than someone saying they strip because they don't have money. They have to feed their kids. I strip at a strip joint, right? Well, or sell drugs. I mean, I have kids that tell me they sell drugs because they need money.
Right, and we've heard all of these excuses for doing the wrong thing.
So those are character issues and a personality, right? So character issues are people that are willing to throw away all their values or everything that they believed in order to make some money. And a lot of people will do that. They'll say everybody has an amount that they will throw away everything believe or throw under the bus everyone they love or something like that. But in general, right now, there's some pretty unsafe people out there. Mm-hmm. And so if you're dating online, just know that you have no idea. Now, why do they have no idea when they first meet them or talk to them?
Well, often their emotions get involved, and so they don't look for the right things. They don't look for the right characteristics.
And they look really good in the beginning.
Yeah,
unsafe people look really, really good in the beginning.
Yeah.
They look like they have it all together, and they will make it sound like that, right? Mm-hmm. Why did they make it sound like that? Because when we talk about the unsafe qualities of some people, and we will go through all of them, they don't really admit weakness. They blame everyone else. things like that. And so for their own self, they don't think there's anything wrong with them.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll have a lot of time to get into the underlying reasons why people do this.
Right. We only know
today,
that they do.
but what we're trying to put out there is what this looks like, so we can be very careful to avoid it, or at least go slowly when
Yes.
we begin making friends, and so that's kind of what this is about today.
And if you'd like some resources, Psychology Today has some really great articles on it, but also Safe People by Dr. Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Unsafe Relationships is a book as well. And so we are trying to take all these and give you the top 20 things, 10 to 20 things. So we should narrow it down to 10 maybe. We'll narrow it down to 10 for you.
We'll work on that.
And then what you need to look for instead. And there's 3 main things to look for. So let's start. The number one thing that we say unsafe people, what would you say?
They don't admit their weaknesses.
Right.
They pretend to have it all together. I'm not weak. You're the weak one here. I'm right. You're wrong. And so it looks like a whole bunch of different things. But unsafe people never want to admit their weaknesses.
Now, they don't do that very well. So if you try to point out something about that, they get real defensive.
Yeah, and that might be the second characteristic.
Yeah.
Unsafe people are defensive. They can't take any kind of interaction which might threaten them. Or,
Yeah, it is threatening to them.
Yeah, bring their opinions into question or anything like that. And most everyone who's listening out there, and of course you and I, we know people who are like that.
Well, and you need to be able to ask questions in a relationship.
Right.
You need to be able to be vulnerable and ask questions and you need someone else who's willing to be vulnerable. It's very essential in a relationship to be able to ask someone like, hey, you didn't call, so did something happen? Well, or hey, I thought you were going to pick me up. You said you were going to pick me up, and you hear they went without you, and so you're just asking them about that, right? You should be able to ask that.
Yeah,
Did
what
you just
happened,
forget
right.
me, or what happened, right?
And there are ways of doing that are certainly appropriate, and that's a part of good communication. We don't have to intentionally imply that they did something wrong or
No.
that they were offensive,
No.
but just asking a question, what happened?
Right. So when you do that, they can get real defensive. And that can be hard because you need to be able to ask people questions.
Sure.
Right? And so what can happen is they get defensive. But let's say you ask them about something, maybe a weakness that you see or something, and instead they turn it around and make it about something you did or a weakness you have. And so that's often what they'll do. They'll point out your problems or your weaknesses instead of talking about theirs. So what we want you to do is keep it and say, you know what, we can talk about you later. I'm talking about this right now.
Yeah.
Are we talking about me later? I'm sorry, we're talking about me later. But right now, I'm asking about this. So you have to work hard to keep them on topic. And the more you keep them on topic, the more defensive they can get.
Yeah, and you just have to really question a relationship like that because it can't really go very far. And if a person is not able to say, "Yeah, you're right, I do that."
Well,
sometimes,
so it always ends
then
up
it's
that
a problem.
Yes. You end up being the one with the problem instead of them, and that's exhausting because that means it's always something wrong with you. But this is kind of what they do to feel superior instead of doing things to make themselves better and build themselves up and maybe join the gym or take a class or buy supplements or something like that. Whatever they can do to feel better, go get a massage, things like that. Those kind of coping skills, they don't really have those. So instead, if you try to point out something, they just put you down. And they make it about you, which can be painful if you don't realize that.
Right, and so, going along with this, unsafe people tend to be self-righteous. And there are many aspects of that, but it's basically, I am way up here, you are way down here, and so there's this self-righteousness. I'm always right, and so that goes along with the defensiveness that they show sometimes and with the inability to be vulnerable or to admit mistakes.
Well, and some people say, what does that look like? They just think they're better than you. They're kind of haughty, maybe.
Haughtiness.
So they look down on you, and they might not even tell you that, but you can feel it. You feel that judgmental kind of, like they're better. And often they won't say it to your face. They'll do it behind your back. They'll tell it to other people. They'll talk behind you. You kind of feel that they're judging you or they're shaming you or whatever. There's this haughtiness about it, that they are better than you, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because really, and people can do that because they have more money than you, but a bum with a a shopping basket has more than a bum with no shopping basket, right? Like, so it's all kind of relative when you look at it. And people can lose their money fast, okay, unless you're a billionaire, right?
You know, something else that's kind of interesting, it seems contradictory because at the same time a person is self-righteous and thinks he's better than you, he will flatter you or she will flatter you. And so rather, they'll flatter you instead of just talking to you or just having a conversation, but they will go out of their way just to flatter. And so they keep it very superficial.
Well, they can in the beginning. This is part of why they can look so great, is they love bomb you. They make it all about you, kind of. It's all about you. They love you. They want to be near you, or they just think you're the greatest thing in the world, and they want to be near you all the time. And it feels good as a person to have somebody who always needs to be with you, but that's really more of an obsession. It's not healthy. Having a healthy life is good, and having friends and family and other things, So if they're always wanting to be with you in the beginning, it feels like they think you're the greatest thing in the world in the beginning. As time goes on, quickly that can flip. And so the hard thing is being able to spot that. Well, how do you spot that? Well, if they have to be with you all the time, that's a good number one thing to see, okay? Like, that means they don't have a lot of people in their life. If they try to get you to marry them within 3 months, okay, that's a bad sign.
I think it's also a sign of low self-esteem sometimes.
Because they're afraid.
If doesn't think that strongly or that well of themselves, they need you to pump them up, on a very consistent, maybe all the time basis. Well,
because it makes them feel good to be around you, and so they need to be around you all the time, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't have a lot of other people that make them feel good to be around them. Or they've ruined those relationships, so they really don't have a lot of those choices.
Well, a person with self-esteem, good self-esteem, is able to be alone sometimes. They're able to be quiet. They're able to sit still. And people who are not real safe often don't have a strong sense of self-image, and so it's very difficult for them to be alone. They need somebody else to be there helping them feel good about themselves.
Yes, and we have Linda, a listener, on Facebook. If you would like to go to Getting Better with Beal on Facebook, we would love to get your comments. You can call in if you want, but you can also go there. And so Linda says they're also controlling. Yes, they are. You don't always see that in the beginning. Now, part of it is if you know what controlling feels like and you've learned all about what that is, and it sounds like Linda has, you get it because they have to be near you all the time. So that in itself, pushing themselves on you a lot when you have other things, needing you so much, that's a form of control, And so anyway, that's just definitely, we'll get more into that, Linda. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks, Linda, for that. One person said, they have to be your parent. So they have to tell you what to do. You should do this. You should think this. Why don't you do this? And it's more than just interacting and asking questions. It's a kind of a directive. It's that demanding, commanding character that unsafe people tend to have.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they can kind of, some of them can do the child thing where they act like a child when they want their way. They can do it that way.
Oh, yeah.
But they also do the parent thing. And when I say the parent thing, that they shame you, really, you feel shamed. They're shaming you. You should just do that. You should have done this. You should have done that.
You should
and it's
know
basically,
this. You don't know that?
Again, pointing out that you've done things wrong a lot. So if you try to talk to him about something about them, then it can be you should have or anything. So part of that is, again, kind of a self-righteous, haughty kind of thing. They think they're better than you. But as long as they talk about you, then they never, ever have to focus on their own problems.
And they will try and turn it around as quickly as they possibly can. And one of the things that I would like for listeners to be aware of today is we're encouraging you to think about friendships that you'll be making along the way, what to look for, and then friendships that you already have when they become, or maybe they already are, unsafe. What do you do? And so we'd like to talk about those things.
Yes, and when you come back, we'll have a shorter session. So we're going to talk to you about what to look for. We're going to do little pieces in between. So we're not going to make you listen for a long time before you learn all the good things, okay? When we come back, we'll talk about one of those three things that are very important to safe relationships. So that when you're really enjoying somebody, being able to know, okay, this is good, but then also already have some tips quickly to know when it feels like, if somebody lies to you, I'd love for you to think, oh, I wonder if they lie a lot, right? So that's one thing, and then we'll tell you the good things when you get right back. Right?
Good.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement
with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. You've been listening to Dr. Wallach, and I bet you have some questions. We want to help. And here's how you can get the answers. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call right now. Don't wait any longer to find out how Dr. Wallach's own all-natural nutritional supplements by Longevity can help you. Are you concerned with reducing your risk of heart disease, cancer, stroke, or high blood pressure? Help is available. Do you have arthritis, sore joints, lower back pain, or fibromyalgia? Call now. Dr. Wallach creates his own formulation so you can be sure that what is on the label is actually in the bottle. Whatever your health challenge, make this call. Thousands like you have seen results for a happier, healthier life. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Call today, 800-214-0065. They say we're not getting any younger, but many thousands have felt younger after a few short months using Dr. Wallach's all-natural longevity nutritional supplements. How many times have you said one of these days I need to call Dr. Wallach and find out what I need? Well, make that day today. Here's how to get that information. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call. The information is free and there is no pressure. So do it now. That's 800-214-0065. If you face health challenges such as heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia, depression, infertility, ADD or ADHD, high blood pressure, or one of hundreds of other diseases, help is available. All you have to do is make the call. You have nothing to lose but the pain and suffering. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-280-2144. 800-280-2144. 800-280-2144. Call right now. That number again is 800-280-2144.
I've got to admit, it's getting better, a little better, all the time.
And now here's more Getting Better with Ann Beal on 1160 AM KBDT.
We love on Getting Better to give you simple tips for living today better than yesterday. So we always want to help you get better. So with friendships, if you've had a time when you've just, especially reaching back out, you want to know people that don't stress you out, people that, nobody needs more harm, right? And so you just want really encouraging, nurturing, loving, caring, unconditional love, all those wonderful things, those kinds of people. So right at the end of the break, we talked about judgmental people or people that shame you more like a parent, talk down to you. There are some wonderful things when you start looking for things that are okay to do, even if people tell you that you're wrong, okay? Because these people tell you a lot that you're wrong or something's wrong with you, or basically everything you do is wrong. It kind of feels like. So, somebody said, well, he doesn't want me to do that. I go, he never wants you to do anything. They're like, right. Well, he told me that was wrong. I'll be like, he tells you everything is wrong. Oh, yeah. So anyway, it's easy to let things other people say cast a shadow of doubt on your decisions and things we know deep down are really right for us. So if you tend to have a doubter kind of personality or you doubt yourself a lot, you second guess yourself, these people can really wear you down.
Oh, they can have a field day.
So if you think of the opposite of that, one of the positive traits that we want people to look for, how would you say it? That people just like them as they are? I mean, we've seen it in movies. I think it was, what was it? What was that movie where her friends told her, she said, he says he likes me just the way I am. And all her friends said, he likes you just the way you are? And she said, yeah. And they're like, wow. That was, what was that movie?
I remember
the
moment, but I don't remember the movie.
It'll come to me. So that was, all her friends were mesmerized by that. That what a wonderful thing for someone to say, that they like you just the way you are.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean we're perfect.
No.
It just means that they're not out to condemn us. They're not into condemnation. And if there's an issue, then we can talk about it.
We talk about what do they say? They're contrary people.
Yeah.
There are those habitually contrary people.
Yeah, Henry Cloud calls them the contrarians.
The contrarians. That they always, you have a conversation, you're not very long into the conversation when they take an opposite side or there's something that you said that they don't like. And so it's difficult to have just an enjoyable, relaxing conversation that you're always on guard for them to get upset with you. That is not safe. So when you're thinking about some of the number one qualities, and we have 3 main things that we want you to look for, and the first one is just being able to be who you are, really. But how would you word that, Dr. Slaughter?
Well, we one would be simply to be able to be present, to connect at a deep level with the other person. And one of the things that this is a totally different show if we want to do it, but human beings, people long for a relationship. We're relational people. God made us to be relational people, and we long for relationship. We long for intimacy, and so connection is paramount when it comes to relationship. Some people can't do it. They can't connect on deep levels. They want to talk about other stuff, and if there's a problem, they make it your fault. But we want to be able to connect. That's a primary consideration.
Well, and I think that it can feel so natural, and people say, I feel like I've known him my whole life. Well, you probably have, and who is it, right? Like, is it in your family? Mm-hmm. Who was it? And so that's what I want you to think about. So he seems a lot like my brother. Well, is that a good brother? Is that a brother who picks on you? Who is that? Oh, well, the brother who picks on me. Well, just understand that on the bad side, he may have some of those qualities, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of it is it can feel so normal and you connect, but if you feel connected so fast that you feel like you've known them your whole life, something's wrong there because you haven't known them your whole life. It's a whole different getting to know each other, right?
Well, it really is. And so, we advise caution in building new friendships.
Yeah.
And you can put your toe in the water and you can share something a little bit vulnerable about yourself, but don't go overboard. Don't tell them everything, or it's liable to come back and be very painful for you.
Okay, so what's another safe quality?
Well, the second one is that we receive grace and acceptance with no condemnation. It gives us freedom from the fear of rejection. We want to spend time and be with people who are like that. They have grace, they forgive, and they don't condemn. That to be a second thing.
Yes. I mean, honestly, you feel good around them.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoy being around them. Honestly, guys, if you have to talk yourself out of feeling bad about them or feeling like, but they have these good traits and I really should. If you have to talk yourself into liking that or whatever, you shouldn't have to do that. No. It should just be so natural. You enjoy it, and the way you left is the way you come back. Everything's so easy and natural and enjoyable. I mean, if you truly do something wrong, and I mean truly, like we're talking like commit a sin, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Then, you can have that conversation. But in general, you want to just relax and enjoy and have these people make you feel better right now. Everyone needs to feel better.
Got an old car? You can
Texas, and your tax refund shouldn't be any different. Call Checks and Balances Texas now at 469-216-8161. Get the tax assistance you need and keep your social distancing at the same time. The best virtual tax services in the Metroplex are just a phone call away. Trust the veteran tax professionals at Checks and Balances Texas for the answers to all your tax questions, including everything you need to know about the tax filing requirements to qualify for your COVID-19 stimulus check. Whether it's assistance with individual or business taxes, or even bookkeeping services, Checks and Balances Texas is there to help. They offer tax filing, planning, and resolution services to clients nationwide. Call Checks and Balances Texas right now at 469-216-8161 or book an appointment online. ChecksBalancesTX.com. Join the movers and shakers of the DFW Metroplex as a client of Checks and Balances Texas. 469-216-8161 or ChecksBalancesTX.com. Some clod hit your car, causing an ugly eyesore you can't ignore, but you don't want to have to take weeks making an insurance claim to get it fixed. Now what are you going to do? Drive around in a dented car? No! Call Eye Candy Auto Body. Eye Candy Auto Body will get rid of your scratches and dents without forcing you to use your car insurance. Finally, there's an affordable way to get rid of your sweet rides, door dings, bashed bumpers, scratches, and scrapes. Eye Candy Auto Body. Eye Candy specializes in perfect repairs for all high-end models and sports cars, but they'll fix all problems on all makes and models. No auto body job is too small. Eye Candy Auto Body promises factory perfect repairs every time. Fast completion's guaranteed on bumpers, body panels, and other paint-related repairs. Got dents? You need Eye Candy. Got dings? You need Eye Candy. Car insurance deductible out of range? You need Eye Candy. Got a teen driver? You really need Eye Candy Auto Body. Make your car perfect again. Call Melody and schedule your free estimate today. 214-924-0959. Eye Candy Auto Body, 1908 West Mockingbird Lane, Dallas. 214-924-0959. How's your golf game? Meet Pat Wheeler, host of Texas Links on the Air.
The thing I love about golf, it's the discussions are never ending. You can talk about anything and it's interesting. The clothes, the courses, the instruction, the equipment, and the people who play, of course. The quote of the year so far, Dr. Lemack said, I'll be 110 days. I think I'll get a Hershey bar and go hit some balls. That's what we talk about on Texas Links on the Air. Don't miss it.
Texas Links on the Air, Saturday mornings at 8 on 1160 a.m. KBDT. Life today.
I've got to admit, it's getting better, a little better, all the time.
If you'd like to get better, call Ann right now. 214-810-8255. 214-810-TALK. Now more with Ann Beal on 1160 a.m. KBDT.
Welcome back. We are trying to give you the characteristics of emotionally safe people. Right? And emotionally unsafe people, right? So why is that? So you can meet them, the healthy ones, the safe ones, and avoid or minimize contact with the unsafe.
Yeah, what to look for on both sides. What to look for that's good, what to look for and be aware of that's not so good.
Because we all need friends so badly. We need them. We need people in our lives. But right now, especially with all the stress from all the TV shows, the news, and everything that's going on in the world with the virus and everything, we're trying to find relationships that really help us de-stress. We don't want friendships that cause anxiety. When we say safe, we're thinking, okay, the word safe means if you think about the definition, freedom from danger, that's safety. Freedom from fear and anxiety. Okay.
Freedom from harm. You mentioned that earlier.
Freedom from harm. Yeah.
Isn't it nice when you get to spend some time with a person who is safe in those terms? We don't have to worry about being afraid with them or that something's going to come back to haunt me later.
Yes.
We just enjoy and we can relax in their relationship. We can enjoy them, being with them, and it's a relaxing situation.
And when you think about okay, so we sit in a chair. We don't really think about the chair ahead of time. We just trust that it's going to hold us, right? But the one time the chair, something breaks on the chair and then you fix it, the first time you sit in it, you're not real sure. Right?
That's right.
Okay. So you sit in it, seems okay. The longer it holds you, the more you trust it. Right? So then you get less afraid to sit in it. Okay. That's the same thing with relationships. When you think you talked about trust right before the break, the importance of trust.
Yeah, and that would be the third major element of a good relationship would be trust. And also, being able to trust someone, honesty in the relationship, truthfulness in the relationship. And often I'll just say, you know what, it's usually a matter of consistency over time.
But I would even say as well, trust to be yourself. It's okay to be yourself. I do have people, even some family members that I go around them, that I don't feel trust that they're going to let me be myself. I mean, they always point out something, or they're just irritable and they may blow, and it can be a not as relaxing of a time, and I can be around other family members that it's just so easy and so relaxing, and I don't have to worry. So trust, I think of trust in a deep emotional level that way.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about that a number of times. You know, there's some people that when you're with them, you just never know if you're going to, like, quote, quote, say the right thing or the wrong thing, or how they're going to take it. So you're always trying to kind of walk on eggshells, I guess would be a way to put it. That is not a fun relationship. That is not a very safe relationship.
Well, and we had a listener say, celebrated, not tolerated.
What a great way to put it.
Yeah, I think that it's important to just be able to, feel like they like you. And that's what's so cool about people lighting up when they see you. They get excited when they hear your voice. You know what I mean? You can tell they like you.
I don't know if we want to get into this. We and I were talking about this last night. What attracted us to one another? And there were some very special qualities, and a lot of them had to do with these things.
Yes, feeling accepted. And it's very important to feel accepted, and that's where just trust. Of course, you need to be able to trust them not to cheat on you or lie to you or things like that. And lies coming up, even the first time, causes trust to be shaky. It's almost like something on the chair breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so you're a little worried the next time, and so then you get more comfortable if they lie again. Then there's like another thing on the chair breaks, and so you get less and less trusting in the relationship. You get more afraid, maybe more anxious.
Yeah, less comfortable for sure.
And so you have to earn that back over time. One of the things an unsafe person does after something like that, they kind of demand that you trust them. I haven't done that in months, or I don't do that anymore. It could have been 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And so they are expecting you to trust them faster than your natural personality or body can. That would be like expecting a chair to hold you when it's only made for a child. It's not made for an adult, or the glue hasn't dried yet. Well, you should just trust the chair. Well, it depends on what kind of glue you used and how strong it is and how well you repaired the chair. And so for you, how well you repaired the relationship, how well you worked at repairing the relationship, right, before they can. If they don't, then that means they can't yet. No matter how much you try to talk them into it, they would just pretend it's not real.
Right. Trust has to be earned, and that may seem like a cliche or something, or we hear that commonly, but it's true, and a lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people demand to be trusted right now, and they're upset. They're very angry if you don't trust them when you have every reason not to because of what the past has shown. And so it takes time. And so, allow yourself to ease into a relationship and for people to show you that they're trustworthy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, if you kind of bring that into, like, you just feel like you've known them your whole life, you haven't. That's a connection similar that you had with somebody else. And that's where you trust too fast, right? It's not a real trust that they've earned. You're assuming things about them, and that's how you can get hurt. Now, I think with all this political and stuff and this coronavirus and tearing down statues, and a lot of people have said shared values. So I had someone say that, shared values, sharing the same values. Now, for the longest time, most people kind of shared the same values. In general, our country, pretty much, there were a lot of things that were shared. People are getting divided on their values, and they don't even want to be friends with somebody who doesn't feel the same way, And people, you've got to, if you have a foundation of a relationship, so having some different values will be fine, right? But if you don't have a foundation over the years, and then you have a difference of opinion, there are some people, so unsafe people, they do not tolerate that. They do not tolerate a difference of opinion.
Right. And, then there's a lot of that going around today, and you're right. I think we're more divided now than we have been for a long, long time. And the thing I've noticed, though, is that even shared values, I think that is very, very, that's important to build a close relationship, that we share the same values, we believe the same things, and commit to the same kinds of things. Sometimes, though, I wonder if it doesn't take a while to really learn what that person truly believes and thinks.
Well, there's so many different kinds of values. We value different ways we handle money. Okay, we don't. So when you think of sharing values, I had someone who told me that the reason a person didn't talk to someone else anymore, basically hardly ever, and was rude, cold, distant, just shut them out. But, of course, they didn't tell them because unsafe people don't tell the person why or even talk to them about it. She said, well, you know, she believes in chemtrails. And I'm thinking, okay, that person's known you their whole life. They are so loving to you and compassionate to you and caring to you and do all these things for you and enjoys you, and you decide to start treating them horribly and disrespectfully and cold, talking behind their back, or not even talking to them anymore, but talking to their friends because of something they believe about people spraying the sky. And that's because of maybe what they read or whatever. That's a very, what would you call that kind of person? A judgmental, shaming. That would be an unsafe person.
I would think. Yes.
And so, you know, that's the kind of thing that you don't want. That kind of person in your life is a harmful person. They don't tolerate what they believe is right. And if you believe that, they don't want to have anything to do with you, no matter what you've done for them, no matter how good you are to them. So that is an example of what would be an unsafe person.
Right. And this would be a person who does not allow another person to have their own opinions if they're different from theirs. And so a safe person, on the other hand, allows another person to have their opinions, and that'd be okay. They don't have to agree, but it's okay.
Well, and shared values is different than shared interests. You know, shared values are like what you believe in family, what you believe in freedom, what you believe in, things like that. It's not shared interest. Shared interests might be hiking, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, things like that. So there's a difference anyway. So that's a safe versus unsafe person. Do you have anything else? How about acceptance? We talked about accepting you as you are.
Yeah, accepting you as you are, and helping you feel comfortable when you're with them.
Yeah.
I mentioned this last time. I've reconnected with some old friends, and I felt so good. I mean, my endorphins were shooting through my blood, you know, after talking to those guys, because I just felt so good to reconnect and to talk to them. And you know, that's something that to me is very important, to find people that you can be that way with. And that was the connection part of those 3 points that we were giving about safe people.
Well, and it's interesting to me because I think it's just the thing, and the media has trained people to put Trump down for whatever reason, like the way he looks or whatever. And I had a lady who was talking about Trump, the way he looked, his hair. And her husband was the goofiest looking man, and he wasn't a nice man at all. And yet she was putting Trump down, like, how could anyone like him, and how could anyone with that hair or with that color skin or whatever. And I'm thinking, yeah. And so it's interesting. People are just trained that way, you know, and the media is very harmful right now. And a lot of these kids have said that they are learning to be disrespectful, shameful, haughty, self-righteous, defensive, okay, definitely blaming. I had a kid tell me that, you know, his news person that his mom watches all the time, well, they're putting people down, they're calling people names, and they're blaming, and they're doing all this stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I know, but none of that is good. And so many people watch that. I mean, I turn it off. I don't watch people I don't respect, okay? And if they treat people badly, I don't listen to them.
And what you're talking about is thought distortions. We've used the term distortion so often, but unsafe people are guilty of certain thought distortions, among which are assuming, blaming, exaggerating, demanding, name-calling, magnifying, and we could go through all those, but unsafe people do those things on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And they end up looking, in the end, foolish, because that leads us into untruth. It leads us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and unfortunately, kids are watching all this, and so the TV is it's just not a great place for them. And so I had somebody tell me they were very disturbed by what happened to George Floyd, and asked me if I watched the video, and I said, in general, I don't watch videos of people being murdered. They didn't even used to put those on.
Right.
And so they put it out there. The media put it out there, like, and almost pressuring you to watch it. So all these people watched it, and then they're all disturbed. I'm like, I hope you are disturbed. You just watched someone being murdered. And I wouldn't consider continuing doing that, because you can't unsee what you see, and it's very disturbing. I've had kids come in on the dark web and seen people being snuffed, and I was like, how'd you get on the dark web? And they talk about seeing animals tortured, just all these things that are so destructive to them, and they can't get them out of their head. And I'm like, yeah, it's all very disturbing. I don't watch that stuff. And so I don't watch anything that the media puts out there. I just try to read it and choose it myself so that my eyes are safe.
Well, media motive is very questionable, and so we have to be aware of that.
Well, we know that just from being in the media, right? We have to be very careful our motives and what we're doing with people. We choose to build you up, make you feel good, and help you get better. That's what we want, not to make you sick or just to make money, right? And so for us, we want to glorify good, and that's what we want you to know. There are lots of really good ways to have friends. Now, some of the things that they talk about in Unsafe People, just a basic checklist, if you go through it, they often, they look good in the beginning. They always look good in the beginning. So you won't know for a while. And so then as these things start coming out, realize these are the basic traits of unsafe. Somebody they can use religion as a weapon. Okay, so the religious side can be legalistic. It's not nurturing and comforting and building you up and helping you. So I really hope if someone's talking about the Bible or Jesus or something like that, it's making you feel better. Okay, but these people use it as a weapon. Not all of them do that. Okay, with religion, they might not mention it, but they do. They're self-righteous, as we talked about. That means they're always right. Basically, they think they're above you. They're haughty, judgmental, and then they don't take responsibility. We talked about that. Instead, if you try to talk about their weakness or something they did, they'll turn it on you. They'll make it about you. They'll talk about your weakness and that. So you're not really able to, if they hurt you or they didn't show up or something happened, you're not able to address that with them. So therefore, you're not able to rest and relax, which is part of trust. You're not able to trust that next time they won't do it because they've not even let you talk about it, and then they turned it on you. So that's one of the things. If they lie, often they'll lie or omit. Okay, so the first time someone lies or omits, they didn't tell you. Okay, and then you found out. They'll go, I didn't lie. No, you just didn't tell me you went there. You told me you went somewhere else, right? And so those are things that they'll lie or omit, and then when you try to mention it to them. So we want people that are safe. So safe people, you can talk with them, you can engage with them, you can
and deep. You can go deep with them. Eventually, you can become vulnerable with them, and vice versa. And we all crave that, actually.
And you don't have to be on guard. And you feel their grace. If you do mess up, they're kind to you. And that's one of the things, you're also always so kind to me. When I do something wrong, and if you point it out at all, I will say, oh my gosh, you did that so nicely. Thank you. And people who really care about you, they don't want to hurt you, right? So they're careful with you. If I can think of anybody who's safe, okay, safe people are careful with you. They treat you carefully like you're a precious thing, right?
Yeah, like a delicate piece of china. Yeah. I think that's really true. And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you brought it up.
That's true. A delicate piece of china. How great is that? So let's keep getting better. We'll give you some more good qualities next.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. You've been listening to Dr. Wallach, and I bet you have some questions. We want to help. And here's how you can get the answers. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call right now. Don't wait any longer to find out how Dr. Wallach's own all-natural nutritional supplements by Longevity can help you. Are you concerned with reducing your risk of heart disease, cancer, stroke, or high blood pressure? Help is available. Do you have arthritis, sore joints, lower back pain, or fibromyalgia? Call now. Dr. Wallach creates his own formulation so you can be sure that what is on the label is actually in the bottle. Whatever your health challenge, make this call. Thousands like you have seen results for a happier, healthier life. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Call today, 800-214-0065. They say we're not getting any younger, but many thousands have felt younger after a few short months using Dr. Wallach's all-natural longevity nutritional supplements. How many times have you said one of these days I need to call Dr. Wallach and find out what I need? Well, make that day today. Here's how to get that information. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Write that number down and make the call. The information is free and there is no pressure. So do it now. That's 800-214-0065. If you face health challenges such as heart disease, arthritis, diabetes, fibromyalgia, depression, infertility, ADD or ADHD, high blood pressure, or one of hundreds of other diseases, help is available. All you have to do is make the call. You have nothing to lose but the pain and suffering. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad.
I was so glad that I called A Place for Mom. My advisor really listened and was truly my partner in finding senior care for my dad. She went out of her way to get to know him as a person and was always there whenever I had a question.
The senior living advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. And it's a free service. Here's the number.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715.
There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715. That's 1-800-370-2715.
To admit it's getting better, a little better all the time.
You're getting better all the time. Now back to Ann Beal on 1160 AM KBDT.
So in this last 5 minutes, we want to help you know how to develop safe relationships, right? So when you're getting back out there or you're calling people, it's a really good time to work on developing safe relationships. And so you know those things that we mentioned, so when you hear them, the only one we didn't mention is they tend to repeat the same problem over and over, even if they apologize or confess. But safe, usually, so they expose humanness. They're human. They're just human, and they're okay that they have that they make mistakes. It's okay that sometimes they have weaknesses. They can often be spiritual people, but they don't use it as a weapon ever. You don't want somebody who uses it as a weapon. They're open to input. That means you can share, give and take, or differences. You can come to more insights talking to them because it's a give and take, and they can help you understand their view, and they can help you help them understand your view, right? Mm-hmm. And then you come to a new understanding together, or at least a respect for one another.
Yeah, I was just going to say you broaden yourself, actually.
Oh, my gosh,
when
yes.
you hear other people, listen to them,
Yeah.
and are accepting of them, and look at their opinions and respect their opinions. You broaden yourself with that kind of interaction.
Yeah, and because I had a professor one time that he believed such crazy. I mean, to me, it didn't make sense, some of the stuff that he was so harsh about. And I wanted to be able to ask questions, and I didn't get to. And so I went to his office and just asked him about it, and he talked to me about it, right? So, and got me to where I understood at least where he was coming from, and it made sense why he felt that way. And that totally helped me, and I respected him so much more. He respected me so much more. I was humble. I wasn't arrogant when I tried to talk to him, right? So humble is a very important part of this person, that they have this humility about them. They're repentant when they do something they shouldn't have done. They kind of have this, when they've truly sinned against you, you can talk to them about it, and they will truly feel bad about that. They're repentant of that,
They change their mind about what really happened. They don't try to make excuses anymore.
Somebody, if you're telling them something that they did that hurt you, or you're wondering something, you're trying to talk to them about it because it hurt you, and they look at you like they don't care at all, just the flattest affect, and there's no emotion there, okay, that's not a repentant person. It's not even a safe person. Something's wrong. And so something's just not there. They grow as a result of personal problems. So they had these issues in the past. They worked through them and became a new person, a better person. They got better, basically. And they realized trust is a byproduct of trustworthy behavior, that they need to be trustworthy if you're going to trust them. They take personal responsibility. They're truthful, and they're a good listener.
Yeah, and there's a skill to listening.
There is.
Most of us have to learn how to do that, and but concentration is really, really important. Eye contact and listening in the sense that you come to understand what the other person is actually trying to communicate.
Yeah, you feel like they get you, because they listen and they respond in ways that you feel like they understand you. They get you.
Yeah.
And even if they don't agree, they're listening and they're acknowledging you, and they're not responding until you're done, right?
Right. And I think one of the keys to real friendship is being able to hear a statement or have someone disagree with you and to be okay with that. It's not like you have to win. It's not like you have to debate. It's not like you have to get the better of them. All you have to do is just listen and see where they're coming from, and then you can kind of talk about that if you want to.
So let me just say this. Attracting unsafe people, you can do that as a really good person, okay? A really good person, if they feel like they need others' approval, if you take on the role of hero and you think you can rescue somebody, and that person makes you feel bad for them and you're going to rescue them and help them, let me just let you know that's a sign that you are doing something unsafe, because you believe you can rescue somebody and you can't rescue them from themselves. You can't want it more than them. And we see that all the time. That other person will end up right back where they were, but you will be less for it. You can get drawn into arguments because you don't know what unsafe people are like, so you can get drawn into those arguments. But one of the number one things I see really good people do is they'll stray from their own healthy habits. They'll stray from the healthiness they know and let somebody talk them out of being with their friends or talk them out of going to their church because they'll say they're hypocritical. They'll talk them out of working out, and they'll say you just are gone too much or you shouldn't be doing this all the time, whatever. They stray from their own healthy living. And so you need a village, you need friends, you need family, you need church friends, whatever it is. We want you to have a healthy life. Because remember, the more you isolate, the more you isolate. As we said at the beginning, the more you isolate, the more you isolate. If you isolate with one person is not enough for you to take on the world. It's just not. So you need lots of people. We thank you again. Getting Better, simple tips for living today better than yesterday. We look forward to seeing you next week back here. And we're going to talk to you about all the things you actually can do in relationships, and it's okay.